Today's topic is the spine and the internal organs. The yogi says that God is in the spine. It's very important that we always take a good care of our spine. We have to take a good care of our spine because all the nerve roots running along the spine. So these nerve roots gives the sensation how we feel during the day. If the spine is in a good order, if it's flexible, if it's warm up in the morning before you going to work, before you start to move, then you will have good sensation, you will have light sensation. But if you start the morning with a rigid back, then your sensation will be very rigid and not very good for the day. So you should always warm up the spine, the back and the psoas muscle in the morning if you want to have a good posture during the day. And then let's see the curvature of the spine. Usually we have a lordotic curvature, after a kyphotic curvature, after again in the lower back a lordotic curvature, and after a little bit kyphotic curvature. The spine has this neutral curvature, and during the day you always have to keep these neutral curvatures, and then all the internal organs will be happy as well, because the internal organs are connected with the spine. If the curvature is right, then internal organs have space. If the curvature is overemphasized, so for example like this, then the belly is squeezing, there is not enough place for the lungs, for the heart. So you should always try to neutralize the curvature of the spine, and then internal organs have space, and then the blood and the oxygen can freely flow in the internal organs. So that's why it's very important that you never overemphasize the curvature of the spine. And usually in the day, when we are tired, when we're working in the office, when we're standing and we are tired, we always overemphasize the curvature of the spine. So we need to be at muscle strength along the spine muscles and in the back muscles. And as well, we have to keep strong legs and strong hips. When somebody is telling me that they have lower back problem or they have spine problem, I'm always telling them the first place that it's possible that the legs and the hips are the legs and the hips are not strong enough, and it's also possible that they don't use the legs and the hips in the correct manner. So you should always first work with the legs and the hips, make strong legs, make strong hips, and also flexible legs and flexible hips. And then if you are using well your leg and your hips, then your spine will be freed. And we have another conclusion that each human being should learn how to move rightly, how to move in the correct manner. Because whenever we are moving in a stressful or in a neglected manner, we always put pressure on our spine. So we really need to use our limbs, our legs, our hands well, and make them strong, so then we can take the extra pressure from the spine. So if you learn how to move in an anatomically correct way, and your muscles are strong and flexible, and you know how equally distribute the weight between the different body parts, then you can free your spine. And this is the aim, that the spine always should be in a comfortable inserted position. It's very important that we should always insert the spine. When our spine it's coming out from the body, then we have always a big problem. So we always should watch during the day to insert the spine deeply, Inserting the spine deeply in the body will give you a better posture, will take care of your spine, will protect your spine, and will make space to your internal organs. So it's very important that all day you should feel that your spine is inserted deeply in your body. If you see a sportsman, for example, from the back, you will see that their spine is deeply inserted in their body, while an average man's spine will almost coming out from the body. And usually the kyphotic curvature is coming out from the body. Then, the next important things for the correct posture, that the correct posture, it's all about the spine versus the hips. Usually the woman hip, it's a little bit coming to the back, so it's a little bit tilting. And as women, we should always neutralize our hip, because if the hip is tilting, the spine will be over, the curvature of the spine will be always overemphasized. So as we bring our hip back to a neutral position, as I told you with the bandhas in the bandha section, with the root bandha and with the hip bandha, then we can neutralize our spine. So the whole correct posture is about hip versus the spine. So you should always watch that your hip is in a correct position and the spine is in the correct position. And another important thing to bear in mind, the correct sitting. Most of the people has an office job, and it's very important how to sit correctly, because if you sit correctly, the office job won't hurt you. But if you don't sit correctly, then in a few months your pelvic floor, your lower back will have a big pain, and they will get weakened, and they will lose shape. So it's very important that you know the right posture, how to sit. So we have to sit always with the 3 rules of the right posture. So sitting bone grounding, arching with the sacrum, and bringing the weight towards the leg. Because if you don't do like this and you falling back to your hips, sooner or later you will have a slip disc in your lower back, and it's very important to avoid this slip disc in your lower back by always coming to your sitting bones and arching with your sacrum and inserting the lower back into the spine. It's also very important at the sitting that your sternum always should be directed upwards, and your shoulder blades always should be directed downwards, and the spine opposite the heart should be inserted inside. So you should always see that there is not an overemphasized kyphotic curvature of the upper back. Because if there is an overemphasized kyphotic curvature of the upper back, then again we won't be able to breathe normally. There will be a shallow breathing which can cause headache, and also the lordotic curvature of the upper of the neck will be emphasized, and then maybe we closing some important nerves, and not enough oxygen and nutrition can come up to the brain, and this will again cause us will again cause us headache. So you always have to take care that your spine should be in a correct way inserted in the body without over curvature. And then another thing is the internal organs. In yogic science, we say that we are as young as our internal organs. Are young and well nutritioned. And what's important, when all day we have a stressful day, or we're moving in a neglected way, then first of all our internal organs getting rigid. So it's very important that we are relaxing our internal organs in the yoga class, and we make space for our internal organs. For example, if you are in the office all day and you crunching your abdomen, then maybe it's good to stay in a brick under the sacrum, brick supported Setu Bandhasana for 5-10 minutes to lengthen the abdomen muscle and to make space in the abdomen area. And internal organs we can also squeeze when we're doing the twisting, when we're doing the back bending, then we are twisting our internal organs, and when we're doing the inversions, then we are giving a good flash of blood and fluid to the organs, and we place them back. It's also a big problem that after 30 our internal organs starting to fall, especially if there is some problem in the pelvic root or in the core muscles. So first of all, in yoga class we do strong pelvic floor and strong core muscles, and after we are placing back the internal organs into their place with a lot of psoas muscle opening, with a lot of inversion position, with a lot of back bending. So we are trying to squeezing back the internal organs to their original places. So it's very important that you're doing the asanas in a correct way, so you give a good exercise to your internal organs, you give a good relaxation in the meditation relaxation section to your internal organs, and furthermore you can do cleansing, you can liver cleansing, it's very important, and also the kidney cleansing, it's very important. There are some yogic cleansing technique which you can use, like for example the warm water in the morning, or the tongue scraper, or eating curcuma every day. For example, me eating curcuma every day, a little bit with water and with a little bit of pepper, and it's very beneficial for the internal organs, for the liver, for the joints, the curcuma. But you can use other technique as well.